Arjun, we've spoken many times before, and our audience knows you very well, but for those who haven't heard of BioInteractions, can you just explain a bit about yourself and a bit about the company?
Certainly. So BioInteractions have been a critical supplier to the medical device industry for over 30 years now. We have partnerships with some of the largest OEMs in the world, and really what we're there to do is to provide biocompatible coatings that confront particular clinical problems on a range of medical devices. So that's preventing clots, that's preventing infection, that's reducing friction when you're sliding things through the body, and ultimately what we're there to do is to enhance the performance of the device, get better outcomes for the patient, and make it safer for use in the patient as well, right? So we've been around for a while. We've continued to update our product portfolio. We provide some of the most advanced solutions in the world for their own particular verticals. And really what we're here to do is to be a guiding partner for the largest OEMs and even for the startups of the world who want to make sure that they've got the best medical device out there.
And we've spoken before about surface active systems, etc. But this time at MD&M West, you're really highlighting the Assist product. Can you tell me what problem you were trying to solve during the development of this?
Certainly. So what we've noticed in the hydrophilic space, which our Assist is a durable hydrophilic, is there's been a plateau in performance. So drag forces within the rest of the industry really remain between 20 grams down to 5 grams, but then also there are some significant problems with particulation. So what that means is whilst the device is being used and being flowed through the body, little particles form or they come off the surface. Now that's a really, really big issue. It causes embolisms, edemas, clots, strokes. So these are fatal issues, and it's such a challenge to minimize that we wanted to ensure that we could actually tackle that problem, right? We're seeing that there have been devices even in 2025 which have been recalled off the market just because of the particulate issue. So what we're seeing here is the friction isn't low enough and the coatings aren't durable enough to really ensure that they've got constant application or constant use in the areas that they need. So that's why we wanted to launch surface active systems. It's a completely new category of surface treatments and coatings, and the idea is to provide the best options without compromise. So you've got the best lubricity without compromising durability. You've got the best performance without compromising complexity of application, right? You know, it's one thing having the best coating out there, but if it takes 2 or 3 steps and it takes you 24 hours to apply that onto a surface, well then that's limiting the OEMs and the throughput that they can get. So we wanted to tackle all of those issues, and that's what we've been able to do with Assist, is we've got the lowest coefficient of friction on the market. You know, we're looking at drag forces of near a single gram, right? So that's 80% better than the lowest part of the average. And then also we're seeing, you know, low particulates, almost negligible to no particulates at all, because we've got an extremely durable and flexible system, right? You know, our system has been used on a range of applications that are not usual, right? Which have high stress points, or they expand and contract, you know, large balloons, and we've been able to provide a solution for that.
And with which devices or use cases does Assist make the most impact?
So there's a range. There's your guide wires, there's your catheters, there's your neurological devices, so microcatheters, delivery systems. So it's important all over the body, especially with minimally invasive procedures becoming so frequent in use. So, you know, rather than opening up the cavity or the chest cavity, or if you want to get to the brain, you're sliding something through the arm or through the leg, right? And they are long pathways, you know, we're talking meters, and they're not straight roads, right? So when you've got all this winding and curling, you've got to make sure that it's easy for the surgeon to use, right? And so there's a range of areas, but if you really want to pick a particular part of medical device, neuro, right? The brain is where the pathways get even more tortuous, so there's a lot more winds. You're in very, very small cavities, right? Very small channels, and ultimately that's where the biggest risk is, right? A particulate in your brain has a drastic effect compared to, let's say, in your knee or somewhere like that.
And finally, what questions have visitors here at MD&M West been asking you at your booth, and how have you been answering them?
Really, it's a range. What's great about the MD&M show is you're seeing medical device manufacturers across the entire board. So cardiovascular, vascular access, neurological, orthopedic, right? So there's a wide range of questions, but really what they're asking from us is, what's our level of performance? How easy is it to use our technologies? How stable are the technologies, and what can the technology withstand? And we've got a broad portfolio here. We've probably got one of the largest in-house developed portfolio of coating products in the world. So different partners have different questions for their specific niches, but they all center around these key attributes, right? Performance, safety, ease of use. That's really what we're answering here today. And also actually support, right? What type of support can they get from us? And that's something else that we're really focusing on. We're not just giving you a solution and saying good luck with it. We really want to partner up, because we understand it's one thing giving you a high performing technology, but you got to make sure that technology is working correctly on your device. We help with that. You got to make sure you can replicate what we're doing in our labs, in your labs if you want, or even at scale. So we might be able to do it at a manual or a small scale, but can we make sure we're doing that if we're manufacturing 15 million units a year? And then comes in the regulatory, right? Regulations are incredibly tight, especially for the coatings and MDR. And really our partners want to confirm that we'll give them the necessary support that will get them through that regulatory submission in an efficient and effective way as possible. And ultimately that's what we are, right? We're a one-stop shop. We can provide you with the optimal technology, the highest performance technology. We can ensure that we support you throughout all the development of your device and the coating process, the testing we can support you with, and also we make sure that we can take on the responsibility of the coating as much as possible, especially through regulatory, right? Because we want to make sure that your devices get through development, they get through the regulatory phase, they get through their clinical trials, and ultimately they are desired by the surgeons the most, and actually they are desired by the patients the most. And that's where both our partners and ourselves win.
Thank you very much for your time.